Welcome to Wayne's World and Kelly Video Podcast. Wow, do we have a really special guest on today. Mr. Kuhn, do the introductions, please.
I was looking for my dad, Mr. Kuhn. I like that. That's right, baby. So this is Derek Holland, known as the Dutch Oven, because when he was a kid, he used to take the sheets over his brother. And no, I'm just kidding. But before Derek even gets to say anything, I want to tell everybody how I met Derek real quick. Went out golfing at this. It's called Davy Country Club or something like that, and it's not. It's a dump. It's so my buddy John over at WRG and I we go up to the first tee, and these two other guys are standing there, right? And they say when we're paired up together to play. Normally we have a foursome, but we couldn't get anybody to play a foursome, so we paired up with these clowns. So I look at both of these guys are both mid-30s, athletic as hell looking, and I mean they're just two physical specimens. And Derek is a freaking giant. I'm 6'1.5", and I'm looking up at him, right? And he says, "Hi, I'm Derek," and I've never heard him use that voice again. But and he says, "You guys want to make it interesting and play for some money?" And I kind of stepped back and I said, I'm just going to kind of guess that somebody pays you for your athletic ability. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on the gambling. And he goes, "Oh, I'm Derek Holland. I play in the major leagues. I'm a baseball pitcher." And I'm like, "No kidding," because he looks like a freaking linebacker. And he's got this big Michigan bat. So, Derek, welcome to the show. I'm glad I didn't lose any money that day because I would have lost a lot. And how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I appreciate the introduction. I'm not you make me seem like I'm a giant. I'm like a tree that just walk up to you. The way
a redwood.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll leave it at that. I got to keep it clean here. Right. But it actually worked out really well because not only did we play golf that day, you met up with us again. What was it? 2 days later or a day later. Yeah. So, I mean, that shows how good of a connection we had to begin with and how much fun we had so much fun in that course, just drinking Kool-Aid the whole time and hitting golf balls. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience.
Well, let me talk about your presents for a second because
it's not Christmas. I don't have any.
You got a lot of them back there, and I'll take anything you got.
Look at that. Siri
by the way,
responded.
I need to say it on air. I got a couple friends where they're it's actually a city quiet, and the owners, their two sons had to come home back from camp early because they got fever. So at some point, I need to get some signed baseballs from you. So
is that my fee for coming on the show?
Yeah, well, we have to charge something because this stuff ain't out. Someone's got to pay the bills. No, matter of fact, pay the bills. You like this?
I do love that. That is a fantastic shirt.
Our sponsor today is YouSuckAtGolf.com.
And that works
I own like 6 of their shirts now. See, that's how much will you talk about. I have this shirt because you two guys had the ugliest shirts on the first day. And half my laughter was just laughing at how y'all were dressed. The second day, they show up in these 2 beautiful shirts. And they're YouSuckAtGolf.com. And that was my intro to even that. I mean, you changed my life, brother. But
I do that to a lot of people. I just can't change my own.
So let me tell you. I was going to go talk the presents, right? So we're playing, and I mean, I play golf all the time. I shouldn't say that. I play golf every once in a while. My business partners might be listening, and so.
Wait, hold on. Get one of these. So when you do a meeting, you'll be okay. They won't even know.
That's right. Go out on the golf course with a green screen. I love it. So, but it was getting a little bunched up, and I think these people were behind us, and it was 3 adult men and a younger guy, and the guy was just drawn to Derek, and he starts chatting with him, and the way you talk to that young guy was just fantastic, and you were so nonchalant about who you were, but they knew you were somebody, you know, and you are. You're you know, a phenomenal baseball pitcher. So if anybody was wondering, well, as I'm just chattering, and we do want to talk a little bit about that. But it was amazing to watch you talk to that young man. And a few during the both rounds of golf, people would just kind of show up and start chatting with him. I mean, it was, you're like a magnet, you know, and it was all men, by the way, men and I'm not going to say it again. No, there's no women.
Let's see what you did there. And I'm just a social butterfly, you know. You just got to let me fly. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to chat it up with everybody. I've always, and the one thing I will say this, like on a serious note, I've always been, you know, a fan of athletes and stuff, watching, you know, I've wanted to collect autographs, all that stuff. As you can see, I've got memorabilia and stuff behind me. But the thing that I've always wanted was I want to be as sociable and be able to talk to all these people, because you never know what somebody's really going through. And my conversation with them could be something that just brings that spark back to them, that makes them feel better about themselves. Or, you know, I mean, I hope to God it's never something like, wow, he just really ruined everything for me, so I will just go army crawl in traffic right now. But, you know, it's, you know, you're always, I just want to make myself, I don't know the right word, I guess, accessible to where people can actually have a conversation and realize that I'm just a regular person, just like everybody else. I just get to play baseball.
You bet.
You just throw a ball a little bit faster than most.
I try, you know, I try.
So,
Sometimes I throw that ball very fast and it goes very far.
do you want to talk about that for a second?
Of course, we can talk about that.
The Washington Nationals game.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, that wasn't the Nationals. That was the Phillies.
Was it the Phillies?
Yeah, that was. Are you talking about the Bryce Harper?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, it's a commercial.
Right. Oh,
it's a commercial.
Gosh, yeah.
And I didn't even get any money for that. Isn't that some crap?
Oh, what?
And here's the thing that makes it even worse. We're both Under Armour guys.
I'll Venmo you some money.
Thanks. $1 would be good.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Times are tough right now. I know.
So Bryce Harper, who used to be my boy, he was actually on the approved list to marry my daughter, and there was maybe one on the list. And we were there at his first game at the Washington Nationals. I mean, he was my boy, and then he left us for Philadelphia, and then they were playing in a game. Well, you were playing with Chicago then, right?
Yeah, I was with the Cubs.
Yeah, and bases loaded, tie game. Go ahead.
No, it's so bases loaded. I forget who was pitching before me, got into the jam, and all I remember is I was in the bullpen and these guys are just where Philly's got some. I love when people talk crap. I do. I love it so much because it kind of fuels you. It gets you going more. And then when you make comments back to them, it's good. But I remember them just wearing me out. And I knew I knew I was getting ready to face Bryce Harper. And I was like, all right. And so I just started talking crap back. I was like, I got him. You know, I faced him before. I was being cocky, being, typical guy. And I get out there and I remember the first pitch I got by him and I was like, okay, I've got myself set up. Let's be smart here. Like, can't let anything leak over the middle. We have to, for me, I always throw a 2-seamer. So I was like, I cannot pull this. I got to make sure I stay square, stay through it. So it'll continue to keep running in on his hands. And I remember I threw a slider and it was a fairly good one. I was like, crap, he did not swing. Like, he is not chasing any of my sliders. And he didn't swing it. A single slider that I threw away. I got 2 strikes on him. I think the count was 2-2, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, all right, this is the one right here. This is going to be the good pitch. We're going to get in on his hands. Carantini even set up in his hands. And sure enough, it was a good pitch. You look at the K zone, it's 2 balls inside. He turned on that thing and unleashed the fury. That thing, I mean, the sound that came off of his bat, I would have needed headphones to cover my ears. It was so loud. And it takes off. He hits it, and I was like, oh, crap. And then I look up, and I was like, okay, that's got to go foul. It's got to go foul. It's like, go foul, go foul. And all of a sudden, I was like, yep, it's not. So I just started walking towards third base. And all I kept thinking was like, I was so pissed off, but it was like, man, I literally threw a great pitch, and yet he turned on it and he kept it fair. What people don't understand is how impressive it was that he kept it fair. For a guy to open up so much like he did, cheat to that fastball, and then turn on it and then somehow keep it straight. I mean, it literally hugged that foul line all the way down. It didn't turn, nothing. It was straight as an arrow. And sure enough, it was about 15 decks up. It was at the top of the stadium. I mean, that was unbelievable.
That's just, and it was a walk-off grand slam home run.
Yeah. And I mean, well, here's the thing too. Like, I mean, I always have fun with it. It's funny. I do a lot of streaming, play video games, and let people come in and interact with me. And sometimes people will come in that don't know how I'm going to react. And they're like, I saw you gave up that Bryce Harper home run. Great pitch, idiot. I'm like, man, you really got me good on that one. But it's like, it was a good pitch. I just laugh at people when they do that. But the great thing about what I love most about Bryce Harper too was the fact that he gave me so much credit, and he gave me some praise too about how I've pitched him, and he just complimented me. And that was something I didn't expect for a guy. You hit your walk-off homer and you just defeated me. You could have kicked me while I was down. Like, some guys do that, and it's okay, because that's part of it. Like, you're a competitor, I'm a competitor. I'm expecting you to say something. But he actually gave me a lot of praise and said some great things about me. And just recently, which was, I want to say it was a week before, Kelly, you texted me, asked me to get on the show. He literally was on TV, and he talked about that moment, and he gave me more compliments. And it was like, dude, that's incredible that you would even still say something like that about me. And John Kruk even gave me praise too on there. So it's cool, but it sucks I'm on the wrong side of that moment. But at the same time, that moment's more iconic for him, because if you think about it, if I would have struck him out, this isn't a commercial. It doesn't get anything. This is just a regular day at the park.
Right.
But the fact that he hit a grand slam, this damn thing's a commercial. You see it all the time. I mean, it's pretty cool. I've been on, I can put it this way. I have been on the high note of one side of it, and I've been on a low now. So,
well, Derek, there's actually, two cases in your career that I actually watched these games that I'd like to ask you about. In 2010 in the ALCS, you earned a victory against my Yankees in Game 4 against the defending champions. Okay, and then then in 2011, you were the winning pitcher in Game 4 of the 2011 World Series against St. Louis. So, because a lot of people watch our video podcasts that are in the business world, these two things stuck out at me as far as, so you're on the biggest stage in sports right now. In these two games that I've referenced, just these two right now, what's the mental capacity? Because that's something that, regardless of whether you're an athlete or whether you're in business or you're in both, there's that competitive edge and the mental focus that is needed to, like when Kelly and I need to win a deal, or when you need to win a game. Explain a little bit how both of those are relevant to what you do for a living and what Kelly and I do, and what it feels like to be on that stage.
So for me, I think the big thing going into that, your mentality, you have the expectations of winning. You have the expectations of making the sale. For me, once I got on that mound, it was, and I'm keeping this as clean as I can, because the words that are going through your mind is, you're literally telling yourself you're the best there is. There's
awesome.
A very, very self-talk kind of thing. I've learned that. I had a psychiatrist for other reasons, but he also helped me understand a lot more about myself. As I would always put it, there's a little green man underneath this hat, and if he comes out and he's running around the bases, I'm a lost cause. That means basically what it's saying is I just have an attention span that gets lost. I get so distracted that I'm no longer focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's being the best pitcher out there. Now, for me also, what people don't understand, and this is everyday life, you can use this with selling however you want. The more positive self-talk you give yourself, the better you're going to be, and the more chances of achieving what you want. On top of that, though, is think of this. It is so easy to think negative. And my example for that is in baseball, if I go out and I have a really bad game, I go and sit in front of my locker and I think about, man, what did I do wrong? I did this. I should have done that, all that. I have a good game. It's get into the dugout, and let's go party, let's go rage. Who cares what happened in the game? Like, that's the thing. But what I've learned from all that is now is every time we do something wrong or we have a bad game, sit at your locker just like you would even after you win. You do the same thing for both win and lose, and you actually just look at what you did right. Who cares what you did wrong? Yep. If you want to go over that, cool. But if you do, go over it with the thought process of, well, this is how I should have handled it. Don't ever second guess what you're doing. As we always tell with pitchers, is it's pitching with pitching with conviction. Believe in what you were going to throw. So if I throw something and it gets hit, I should never come into the dugout and be like, man, I should have thrown this instead. That was one thing I learned from Mike Maddox. And I've also heard it from Greg Maddox too, is never, ever, if I come up to you and question, why did you throw that pitch? And you tell me, well, I should have done this instead of that. They would say, I'm going to smack you across the face, because that means you didn't pitch with conviction. That means you were unsure of what you wanted to do. So for me, just like in that Bryce Harper moment, it's just like I told you too, this is the pitch I want to throw. I threw it. I got beat. Hey, tip the cap. All right, we'll see you later. And so with that mentality is every time I step foot on that mound in those situations, I was an absolute bulldog. I did not give in. I was committed to every single pitch. I focused right on what I needed to focus on and continue to push myself. And as sales or in pitching, however you want to look at it, the main goal is go out there and be the best version of yourself that you possibly can. With that way, when you walk away, you know what? I did what I was supposed to do. I gave everything I had. Sometimes you're going to win. Yep. Sometimes you lose. But the main thing is, no matter what, each time you go out there, you learn something every single time about yourself.
Wow. Thank you. That's excellent.
Tiger Woods, who we're going to have on in a couple of weeks, he talks about the same thing.
Wait, hold on. You said you're going to have Tiger Woods in a couple of weeks, but he already told you the quote? Yeah. Did you see? I caught you there.
We pregame. Dude. We pregame. Just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But Tiger always, one of the greatest things he does about golf, it obviously hasn't transformed into my golf life or yours from my, I was
going to say it hasn't probably transferred in a lot.
And baseball's big difference. But, and I think part of it, when we were golfing, we were having fun. We were trying to hit good shots, and we were, we're being competitive. I'm a competitive businessman. You're a competitive athlete that will probably turn into an incredible businessman if you decide to do that eventually. But because whatever you do, you freaking go at it. And you need to take your putting seriously, because he does use a hockey stick for putting.
I can't anymore. I got it taken away for right now. It's because I want to actually play in like tournaments, and unfortunately, I guess that club is illegal. Weird.
Well, and it's not even that good. I've got a video of Derek hitting this long. After I hit a bad shot, and then so I took a second ball on a par 3 over water, and I hit it, and I put it pretty close to the hole. And so, of course, I'm videotaping how close it is to the hole. And then, like 50 feet way off at the edge of the green is Derek, and he's about to hit his putt. So I'm recording it, and I go, "That's not such a good shot, is it?" And he's like, "No, it's not." And his freaking ball goes off the green. This was a massive green, but it's pretty funny that I got it on.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'll have to show that someday. But let me do. So Tiger and I were chatting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what happened to Tiger?
So no, he never thinks about the last shot, which is what most people do wrong. Unless it's a great shot. If it's a great shot, he's like, yeah. But if he has a bad shot, which rarely happens, he does not let that go back into his brain. So as and as a pitcher, you got to have the exact same mindset. Mindset is so important in life with everything that we do. And speaking of mindset, because time's flying and I don't want to miss out on this. The 60 feet by 6, what's called 60 feet 6 foundation, which is a foundation you started. And can you talk a little bit about that? Because that just shows the level of depth that you are about how you care about people.
Well, first, I do want to say real quick too, with the mental side of things, people don't understand how important I guess you could say mental illness, but I'm saying the mentality of having the mental strength. That's huge. Is mental. It's everywhere. No matter what you do, and it's all about what you let in.
Right.
And you could sit here, and if somebody's talking crap about you or anything like that, it's one of those things that you can easily bypass. You can let somebody talk all the crap they want about you, and you can just continue moving forward. All that does is make that person even more angry because you aren't even acknowledging them. Now, granted, me on the other hand, I like to acknowledge it because I know how I can handle it. I know how I can get past all that. Because you can tell me I suck. You can tell me, make fun of me because of the Bryce Harper home run, whatever it is. It doesn't matter because I continue to keep going because, one, I did everything I was supposed to do. And two, that's just part of it. That's the way the game works.
Right.
Now, well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying, Danny Johnson, she always says, I say to yourself all the time, I receive that or I don't receive that. And you can say it right to the person. If someone says something negative to you, just say, hey, I don't receive that. And if you believe that, it works. Now here's something that, wow, we're going to really go on some tangents. When we were young, and I'm not including you because I'm significantly older than you, but when Wayne and I were young, you would just battle with each other about all kinds of stuff. And it's just part of growing up. Now, the younger people, you hurt my feelings.
I need a safe space.
I think that is such a
safe space.
I want a safe space. It is the wrong way. And, we are three alpha males without a doubt. I think all three of us, and why we all connect is because we really do care about people, but we're also fun and we're men. And the crap that we say to each other on the golf course or wherever, we're joking around, but you say that because it's funny and you really do care and love each other. But but it also made us who we are. It made us tough because you have to learn to say, I don't receive that and believe that. I'm afraid with these kids today, because they're so protected with their little safe space, that when someone does hit them, they freaking crumble. And could you imagine if you're up there pitching and the batter says, something to you negatively and you go, oh, you hurt my feelings.
Well, that's the thing. You can't say anything anymore. What I've always learned too is, if I make fun of you or you make fun of me, it's because you care.
That's a guy thing. Total guy
and
thing.
If I'm not saying something to you, then that's when you should start questioning, like, okay, I don't think he likes me. I don't think he wants to be around me. That's the fact. And it's so funny you talk about, we got to have our safe space, all that. It's sad. Like, we live in a time now to where you can't make fun of somebody or joke around anymore without somebody really getting hurt or offended. It's like everything's offensive nowadays. You can't have an opinion. There's so many things we can't do. And at this point, I hate to say it, but like, if we don't stand up for any of that stuff or start making comments back, we're never going to get that back. And we're going to continue to get walked on and watch all this other crap happen that makes us sissy boys, I guess is the best way I can put it, with keeping it clean. It's just a scary time. Like, you can't do anything. And
we got to bring it back. Sometimes we are too abusive to each other. And maybe I've matured out of that to a degree. Neither of y'all can say, oh yeah, right, Kelly, when did that happen? I used to be worse, but we got to toughen up, toughen up, Buttercup, and I would love to see all of us move back towards that direction. I know I never moved away from it. I don't, probably neither of y'all guys did too, but if people tell me that's offensive, I'm like, yeah, sucks to be you. And you are so right when you say, if we're not saying anything to you, then you better worry. Because that means we just don't care.
Yeah.
Hey, Dutch, before you go into your foundation, I got one more question to ask you, if it's cool.
Yeah.
A lot of the mental health component that you're talking about is very helpful and useful to the people that are going to watch this. I think Kelly and I got a pretty good handle on that in the endless conversations we've had about the psychology of business and selling. But regarding living in the moment, I really hope that when you were on the grand stage, that you looked around and you remembered the first time you maybe picked up that ball with your dad in the backyard, or you put your cleats on and walked to the pitcher's mound in Little League, and you looked around and said, man, I'm here. This is it. I'm here in the moment. How'd that feel?
I remember exactly when it hit. And that was my major league debut in Toronto.
Okay.
I remember walking. Well, first I was in the bullpen. I got to meet the guys. So the first time it happened was obviously when I got called up, but we were at home in Texas playing Kansas City then. Came into the clubhouse and I was just like, just blown away. I'm seeing all the guys that I've watched and,
right.
you know, I'm at camp with, and I just sat there. I was like, holy cow, man, this is it. Like I've achieved the goal. And then I remember telling myself, you know, we've made it, but we're not done.
Yeah.
And for me, it's always been my mindset is never be satisfied with where you are, because it can get worse or it can get better. It's up to you which way it goes. It will never stay the same.
Love it.
And
Love it.
every day I just push myself, and I'm going to have to come back on here again, because the story of how I got into baseball and everything I went through, and no shots against the military. I want to make sure this is clear too, but you know, those recruiters that were always at your high school, there was a big exchange there that it was life-changing. In a good way. Now,
well, that's a teaser. Nice job.
Yes, and I
want to hear that.
And I always support the military. I do stuff. I've done stuff with President Bush and his Wounded Warrior stuff. I've done. Every time I meet a troop, I do something with those guys. There's the One Tribe Foundation that I work with too. There's just so much, but that's something we can dive into later. But I remember. Now, I told you how I got into the big leagues. I was excited. I get to Toronto and the phone finally rings for me. And every time that phone would ring, because I was in the bullpen to start, which I give a lot of credit to the Rangers for doing that. I literally needed a new pair of shorts every time that rang, because you just you're like, oh crap, is it me? Is it me? And finally, when I got to hear him say, it was Andy Hawkins, my pitching coach, bullpen coach, was down there, and he goes, Holland, let's get going. And as soon as I heard that, and I can still hear his voice, I can still hear it now, I just literally go, all right, here it is. You're a major leaguer now. Let's go. And then, you know, I warm up, and I remember going in from the bullpen in Toronto. It's a nice little run. And I just remember running out, and it was just like, holy crap, here it is. Your heart's racing. Then it was like, as soon as I hit the dirt to the infield, I literally was like, all right, it's showtime. Let's go. And then I started self-talking and getting myself pumped up. And then first guy I faced got rolling. And I remember throw the first pitch, and I watched Saltalamacchia take the ball and throw it out. And I was like, okay, what's that all about? And then that's when it hit me. You're here. And then I kept thinking, and it's just like you said too. It's like, man, this is no different than sitting in the front yard playing baseball against my brother with the lawn chairs, the strike zone. This is it. Like we're doing this. This is for real. And then, you know, one of the best pieces of advice that I ever gotten from one of the major leaguers, Kevin Millwood and Eddie Gordado, was just look around the stadium before you throw your first pitch. Look around, take it all in. No, this is what you've worked for. You made it. You're here. Take it in. And then as soon as you've done that, give yourself a couple seconds. You get on that mound and you attack. Let's go. And then that's what I did.
Awesome.
So it was cool.
Thank you.
That was freaking cool. Yeah. That's like the first time I got my first double bogey. I was so excited, but we don't have time to talk about that.
It happens.
So 60 feet by 6 foundation.
So it's first, I got to correct you. It is 60 feet 6 organization. 60 feet by 6.
Come on, dude. Hey, I looked that up. Okay.
I'm in construction. That's what we say.
It's okay. So reading is hard. Reading is hard.
I'm such an idiot.
Do you need glasses? You need a safety. Oh God, he's got.
Have a little bit of consideration for our guest, okay? I did the work. I expect you to do it too.
I take me out, coach. I suck.
Right.
I'll dive into this. So for me, it's all about kids with cancer. With that being said, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a foundation, and I went to one of Michael Young's foundation events, and it was helping a kid with cancer. And it really, it hit me hard. Like I've never experienced anything like that. I started crying at his event, and I didn't understand. I didn't know exactly why. And because it took a second, because I didn't know this kid had already passed away, and I had no idea. So hearing the story and stuff from Michael and then the kid's mom, it hit me, and I was like, man, I can't do that. I got to be a part of this. I got to do something. So I talked with my agent, and we came up with everything, and that's how we got the name, which is obviously the distance from the mound to home plate. Started doing all that, and then Ben and Skin, one of the shows here in Dallas, reached out to me and was like, hey, we've got a kid. We want you to meet him. You have the perfect personality. Would you do it? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I jumped into the studio with them, got to meet this kid. And granted, I want to point this out because this doesn't affect me. Like, some people were kind of, when I first told them, they're like, wow, that's kind of different. You're not even like the true kid that he want, or the guy that he wanted. He wanted to meet like Dirk Nowitzki, Michael Young, some of these other guys. And it changed once we met. Like, he did want to meet me. There's not, it's not like he didn't. Like, it wasn't like he came in and he's like, oh crap, I just got the knockoff brand from the Rangers. He actually knew.
Was Cohen available?
Yeah, he was like, I guess I can deal with this. No, he came in, he was super excited, and his name was Brigsbury. And Briggs was a super good kid. I'm trying to think of the exact cancer that he had, but he came into the studio, and we got to exchange. And from then on, this kid became like my brother, is the way I treated it. I was like, I want this kid to feel as if he's a part of my family. He's a part of me. Like, we're in this together. We're gonna fight. And got to know the kid, got to learn a lot about him. And one of the craziest things about what some of these kids go through that people don't understand is they go through a lot of treatments to begin with. And it's bad. It takes a toll on these kids. And he would literally, after, we got the relationship going and stuff, he would do chemo, and then he would play 9 holes of golf, and then he would come and hang out with me. And it was just like, this is an inspiration. Like, people don't, again, like I said, it's so hard for them already. But then on top of that, this kid's going and doing all this stuff. It's motivating me. So that way, anytime I ever come out and I say, oh man, I got a cold, I don't feel good. Well, now it's a different perspective. Like, I'm sorry. I look at it as, all right, I got a cold, man. I got to toughen up. I cannot be a little girl about this. Yep. This is tough. Like, so whatever. He's showing me everything. We're talking, and I find out who his favorite player was, and it's LeBron James. And so I kept that in the back of my head. I wanted to try to, I was friends with Dirk, and I'm still friends. And so I was asking him to help me, get this signed. And so I had it all set up, and all of a sudden Briggs had to go in for his treatment, and he was getting a bone marrow transplant, and he got that done. And I just remember I had knee surgery. And so I was rehabbing myself at the same time. And when he was in there, I went and saw him, whatever. I got him a PlayStation because he was in isolation to where he couldn't interact with anybody. So I was like, here, I got you a PlayStation. We could still play video games together. Let's do that. And one of his favorite games was basketball. He loved NBA 2K. And so, we had that going on, and finally it had hit. I'm trying to think exactly when. I was doing a start. No, that's not it. Sorry. I was getting ready to do a rehab assignment, and I got a phone call from Briggs's mom. Actually, no, I'm screwing this all up. Sorry. I went and saw him, and then I came back. I was going to go start my rehab assignment, and I kept telling him, hey, you're going to get through yours. I'm going to get through mine. We're going to basically be rehabbing together, and we'll just keep tabs. We'll go back and forth, have fun with this. He was all for it and everything. And then that's when it happened is I came back, and I was getting ready to pitch against Oakland. Yeah, it was Oakland. And I got a phone call after the game. Oh no, I did screw this up. Dang it. I'm so sorry. That was the last. Okay. So I went on my rehab assignment, did everything. And when I came back, I got a phone call while I was back in town, and they had told me that this was going to be it. And they asked me to come in. And for me, it was kind of crazy timing, but I ended up having the LeBron jersey signed, and that's a whole nother story too, which kind of fuels me a different way about LeBron. But got the jersey signed. I went in, and that was one of the hardest moments I've ever had to experience in my entire life. Was a kid was on his deathbed, and this was it. They were saying he wasn't going to make it through the night. It was real hard. And I remember walking in, and I saw Deanna, Briggs's mom, and I couldn't hold it. I couldn't keep it together because as soon as I saw her, I just started bawling and came over to her, gave her a hug. And then I went in there, and I remember sitting down, and finally Ben, the radio guy with me, he said, "Hey, let's go in there. Let's go see him. As we were looking at it, let's say goodbye to him the right way." And so we went in there, and for those that don't believe in God, this was the game changer. This, I've never questioned it. I've always been a person of faith, but this was like God was there. God came down. God was an angel. There was something was going on in that room. I remember walking in, and he had not opened his eyes all day. He had not been doing anything. He was very unfunctionable, and walked in, and I remember getting on one side and Ben got on the other, and we laid the LeBron jersey on top of him. I was telling him that I brought the jersey for him. I was telling him we loved him. We're here for you. Please, show us something. Get back in here with us. We can't lose you. It was very an emotional conversation. And I remember holding his hand, and Ben was holding his hand, and we both, this is how like it was so real. Again, all day he wasn't doing anything. He squeezed our hands, and you could see him. Now, he didn't open his eyes like we are, wide open, but you could see his eyes open and just looking at us. And it was just like, holy cow, he's not leaving us. He's here. And it just, when I walked out of the room, I mean, it was not processing that way. It was still processing as we're really going to lose this kid. And this kid made an impact throughout the community of Dallas like no other. I mean, this kid was something special. And when we got out, I started crying. I was like, I can't believe, this is happening. This was my first kid of my first foundation. I didn't know how to handle any of this. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going on. And, I did see, like I told you guys, Michael Young, how he handled his. This wasn't it. This was different. This is now it's mine. It's in my care. And I just kept thinking, man, I can't believe I'm about to lose this kid. And I just remember the next morning I got a text. Briggs did not pass. He's still alive, and he's actually doing pretty good. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
No way.
And so we got the whole, because I had left to go do my rehab assignment, and I remember going down to Round Rock, and I'm keeping tabs with Deanna, and she's telling me everything. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm about to make my rehab back with the Rangers. I'll be back with the team August 1st. And she was like, that's awesome. He's doing good. We're going to make sure we watch the game. So it's perfect. Got everything set up. Everything was going great. I mean, he is cruising. He's back to normal. Everything was good. And I get to Kansas City, get the call. I'm going to pitch and everything. So I get to join the team. I'm back with the guys, pumped. And I remember talking to Briggs. I said, hey, man, whatever you do, please watch this game. This is going to be big. This is for you. Love you, man. And, everything was good. And he was so excited. He was going to watch. And so I get out to Kansas City. I write his name on everything. I got him on my spikes. I got it on my hat. I couldn't have it on my jersey, but I had it on my glove. And I remember getting out there, and umpires were great about it. I told them what the reasoning was. Nobody made me do anything. There was none of this dumb stuff like now where we got to change gloves, all that. So I write his name on the mound, on the back of it, throw a gem, end up going, I think 7 or 8 innings, 1 run. It was electric. It was great. I came out of that. I just felt like no matter what, you were not going to take me down. I was going to beat the crap out of anything that stepped in front of me. And just remember, I got the call from Deanna. So excited. Briggs loved it. He was on cloud 9. He had tears of joy. We all were just crying. It was awesome. It was so cool. And I was like, man, that is what it's all about. I could give two shit
Okay.
Two craps about any of that. Like, to me, being able to do something to help somebody and get them in the right mindset and just have them basically, as I want to put it, vibe and just positive energy.
Yep.
That was what it was all about. And so I was very excited about that. And then about 4 starts later, it's about to be September 1st. Oakland's in town, and I'm pitching, throw another great game, feeling good. And I come back out, and I guess Briggs had taken a fall. He tried to get up and use the bathroom on his own is what I'm pretty sure it was what it was. And obviously going through all the treatments that he has and, not being able to do too much, your body, your muscles aren't what they were. You got to build all that back. Well, he tried to do something on his own, collapsed, and he had a bruise basically from the bottom of his butt all the way up to his back, just bruised real bad. It was not good. And from then on, everything had gone south, and I had no idea. And I'm pitching at home against Oakland and Arlington, throw a gym, and I come out of the game, and I just remember seeing MLB security, Blake Miller and John Daniels, the general manager of the Rangers, sitting in my locker, and they never are there after the game. So I was kind of like, all right, this is odd. And he's like, hey, sit down. We got to talk. And I was like, oh crap. And then all of a sudden I started thinking, uh-oh, Blake's hit my locker. So something serious had to have happened. Like, I hope my parents are okay. I hope my brother's okay. Because when he's there, he's, again, like I said, MLB security, that's like with the police, everything, any of that kind of stuff. He's that guy. And he was like, we just got a call from Deanna, because they were connected with everything. Because I would have them come around the field and everything. And they said that Briggs was not gonna make it through the night, and they want you to come back up there and say goodbye. And I lost it. I didn't know what to do. I was about to have a police escort to the hospital at Children's in Fort Worth. And, it was nice enough that John Daniels was there. He was like, hey, well, we can tell the media what's going on and why you're gone, so you don't have to worry about it. I want you to do what you think is the right thing. And to this day, it still eats me up, but I didn't go. I chose not to go because I couldn't bear to see him like that again and have to say goodbye again. I regret it more than anything, just because we had such a good relationship that it's not something that I wanted to have to end it on that way. This is how I have to see it, as saying goodbye to this kid again. And I ended up not doing it. And it was definitely one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, was not going. But I kept in touch. And to this day, I've still kept in touch with the family. I bring them out for every opening day. They've come to all the opening games that I've played in since their son has passed away. And from then on, they come to every charity event, but from then on, I made sure, and I told Deanna, and I've made this clear every time with my message for the 60 Feet 6 Foundation, is I don't want to ever experience that with kids. And I know I don't have that power. I know I don't have that choice. I'm not God by any means. But if I can make a difference for every single time that we either raise money, do an event, or being able to go see kids at the hospital, those are the things that I like to do. I want to make sure that we can do that. And that was my message going forward with my group with the foundation, is I don't care what it takes, whatever we have to do. Baseball is a gift, but I want to give those kids the even better gift, and that's the gift of life, and try to keep them here as long as I can. And one of the things that I do is I always dress up in costumes. I've got 2 legit movie quality Batman costumes. I dress up as Batman and go see these kids in the hospital. I've got a Transformers costume of Bumblebee that is legit, walking on stilts. I've done that already. I've dressed up and did bingo with these kids. I've been blessed to be able to work with the kids at Children's Hospital, both Cooks and Children's, in Fort Worth and in Dallas. So for me, it's what people don't understand is, I gave somewhat of the story, and I made it as easy as I could to go through that story, because it's usually hard. I usually break down crying because it's so hard to, I relive it and then I tell it, and it's tough. But the one thing that stands out, and I've told people this before too, is I invited my brother to come with me to Children's Hospital one time for Christmas. And this is with the Rangers. And I was like, I want you to come and experience this. I want you to see what this is all about, and you'll understand why I have so much passion for these kids. And you go in there, and my brother, I remember there was one room, and I'll never forget this. And it's it was emotional. But this kid had 2 weeks to live, and my brother made it into the doorway, saw the kid, lost it, and walked out. And then I stayed in there, and I was doing impersonations of Kermit the Frog, Elmo, or Mickey Mouse. Like, I was doing everything I could just to get that kid laughing, get him to feel good and enjoy. And it hit my brother. And then I was like, this is what it's all about. This is what these kids need. And what's crazy is these kids need to hear it from us, because they hear it from their parents all the time. They feel like those are the only people that are supporting them. They don't realize that when you walk in, you become a part of that circle, and you show them that there's more than just their parents that cares about them, that wants to see them back out there on their feet, doing the things that they need to be doing, and show them that you love them and you care about them. That's what it's all about. Is they need that. They need to see there's more people in their corner than they realize. And from then on, I've always made it clear, is every time I do an event, the kid comes first. It's the people that are going through these tragic times, these moments, these illnesses. If we can make any kind of difference, that is what it's all about. And that's where the foundation started from. And that's why I continue to keep doing what I'm doing. Whether baseball takes me anywhere else, if I get to play one more year, whatever it is, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I want to care about something that's going to really change somebody's life.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's amazing. I mean, and that's why we connect. What a freaking stud. And I mean,
yeah,
I'm blown away. And unfortunately, I didn't hit record, so we didn't get any of this.
Well, don't worry. I can always say it again, because it comes straight from the heart.
I'm kidding. No, that it's better if recorded well. But my God, brother, I love you. I love our connection. I love being, I love our friendship that we developed. There's more things for us all to do. You said it so well. Justin Siegel, we want to give you a shout out.
Yes, sir.
It was the fourth golfer with John Marks. You have I tell you what, you've broken all the rules except for one, which I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that.
No. I said you really didn't do that. That was nothing. Trust me, I was worried because I've seen you hit a bad golf ball. I've also just to kind of go a little bit of a lighter note, just so I can just pull myself together, because that was so freaking moving. When this guy hits a golf ball, there's smoke. There were a few times, I swear, the second day it sparked. The ball was sparking off his club. The guy is a sick athlete, but he's even a better man. And I am proud to call you a friend. I can't wait for us to schedule up another show with you, because, dude, you knocked it out of the park. Huh?
I appreciate it. You did good. That was a good
Baseball
one.
Term.
But I do want to say my doppelganger is Adam Sandler. That's why I hit the golf ball so far.
Dude, well, listen, we'll try to get Adam on. Adam lives up the street from here.
I love that.
So I'll reach out to his family and see if we can have him join us. How would that be cool?
That'd be wild.
I love him so much. I'm actually afraid to run into him one day. City quiet. But, sorry. Ben Friedman. He's a member of the course where Adam belongs. And so he invites me over to play sometimes. And I'm always afraid that we're going to run into Adam, and I'm just going to act like a freaking idiot. Oh my God, I love you.
No, he would. I'm sure he would like
now
that.
We've gone way beyond schedule. Have you seen his latest movie? I have to ask you about that real quick. His basketball movie?
I have not.
I know you've been a little busy.
Well, I haven't really watched too much I hate saying it, but I haven't watched too many movies. There's a lot that I want to go and see.
There's one on Netflix right now, and I don't know the name, but you got to see it. And on the next show we have you on, we'll have to have you respond to that versus Top Gun. Which don't even waste your time going to see that.
Really, I've heard good things about it.
It wasn't good. So Wayne, would you like to say anything before we shut down?
Derek, I'm completely blown away by your story. Certainly appreciate the fact that you gave us some insight, regarding the mental capacity that you need to make it, whether it's a Major League Baseball player or folks that own companies or in sales. But your foundation, by far and away, was one of the most touching stories I've ever heard. And thank you for sharing your gifts to the world, because we do owe everyone our best. I appreciate you, sir, very much.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks, brother. I'll talk to you soon and love you.
Yes, sir. Love you too. Thank you guys for having me on. And if anybody wants to check it out too, just remember 60feet6.org. You can check that out, or DerekHolland45.com.
I'll 100% put it on the link. And you also got to follow this guy on Instagram.
Oh, yes.
Crazy.
I try to keep it loose.
Okay, guys. Have a wonderful day. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
See y'all. Bye.
See you, bye.